Now we're going to learn how to automate or write in certain instructions into both session view and arrangement view. Automation allows us to tell the computer that we want something to slowly fade in over a longer period of time, or we can write in those delay throws that I was talking about in the previous lesson. Similar to MIDI mapping, automation is something that you can easily get lost in and can get overly complicated before you know it. So make sure that when you're automating, it's more about what's going to make your composition more musical rather than what's going to make it more complicated. First, we're going to start by learning how to automate something inside of an individual clip. And again, we're going to look at it from two different angles, one being a little bit more physical and the other being slightly more technical. But before we do anything, we need to click on the automation arm button, which is located right here to the right of the transport. It looks like a tiny little chain link. And this is going to allow us to write automation over the parts that we've already programmed or recorded in. So let's click on the MIDI clip on this first channel here with the arpeggiator on it and take a closer look at it in clip view here. In clip view, there's a window we have yet to look at, which is called the envelope box. And to view the envelope box, we need to click on the small E on the left-hand side of the clip, and the envelope pops up here. So envelope is the word we use to describe how a parameter changes over time. You can see that when the envelope is open, our MIDI notes turn from red to black, and we lose the inherent functionality of being able to click and drag them around, and we're not seeing velocity information along the bottom. And there's also two drop-down menus that pop up in this envelope menu. So the first lists all the virtual instruments and effects on the track as well as the main mixer. And the second list is going to give us every single parameter accessible to us inside of whatever's selected in the top drop-down menu. So this can get really kind of crazy quick. So we're going to start small and build from there. So I'm selecting the mixer from the top menu and the track volume from the second drop-down menu. If the track isn't already record enabled, you're going to arm it here. And what I want to do is record in some volume swells so that the volume of the clip raises and lowers at different times in its duration. The first way I'm going to show you how to do this is to play it in. So if you have a controller with a dedicated knob or fader for adjusting the volume of this track, you're going to use that. Otherwise, you can temporarily MIDI map one for this purpose. And the way I'm going to show you how to do it is by clicking and dragging and actually playing on my cursor, if you will. So once I'm ready to record, I'm going to set the fader to wherever I want the volume swell to begin. And then I'm going to press play here. And in order to record automation, I'm going to trigger session record here. So you can see the play icon turns to a red version of it. And now I'm just raising and lowering the volume, and you can see this is now following me. And I'm just letting go at this point. And then it's continuing on, and to punch out, I'm going to hit session record again. So you can hear the swells happening. So now I'm going to just delete everything by highlighting it and pressing delete. So the only thing that deletes in this case is the automation since we're viewing the envelope. And now I'm going to click it in. So I'm going to set my fader back to wherever it was. And if you see this line, this horizontal line raising and lowering along clip view as I raise and lower the fader here, this is telling me where any parameter is currently at. So, and you can see as I approach this with my cursor, it turns blue and creates a little dot depending on where I'm hovering. So I'm going to click on it and create what's called a breakpoint. So it's a little circle here that's happening. And I'm going to create a few more and a few more just to quickly do this. And then this has kind of a mind of its own in some ways, but you can grab them and drag them, and they approach differently. They function differently depending on how you approach them with your cursor. But you just need the one blue dot to be highlighted, and you can, in essence, draw in this exact same automation that we played by clicking it in. So you'll notice over here that the fader in the track now has a red dot in it. And this indicates to me that this parameter has automation associated with it, and it's following along with whatever I've recorded in the envelope. So again here, I'm just going to delete all of the automation. And now we're going to open an envelope on a track in arrangement view and write automation into the master timeline as opposed to a specific clip. So the difference is that if something's automated in a clip, it's going to occur whenever we launch that clip, whether we're in arrangement or just, being creative and randomly launching things. But we're only going to hear automation in the timeline when we're actually listening to the timeline. So I'm going to go over by pressing Tab and click the Back to Arrangement button, which now is going to give us whatever automation we've written into this area. So again, accessing this automation lane is the same. We've got these two drop-down menus. I've got mixer selected here and track volume selected here. And it's the process of writing or playing something in is exactly the same, except when we're in arrangement view, we don't want this track to be armed. And in order to record something, we would use the global record command. So I've got a knob, which is MIDI mapped to this volume fader. You can see the track raising and lowering. I'm going to go back to the beginning here. I'm pressing global record, and then now I'm just using the knob on my MIDI controller to write these swells in. And if I wanted to keep clicking in as we go, same process applies to the master timeline. So now let's say I want to automate something in a different area that's not the mixer. So now I want to automate the rate at which the arpeggiator is playing notes on this exact same track. So I'm going to go over to the menu here and I'm going to select arpeggiator, and synced rate is the parameter that I want to automate. So going over to the beginning, this time I'm going to draw it in by using this draw tool up here on the right. So I'm just clicking and holding and dragging and going on somewhat of a wild ride here. You can see this fraction changing by my pencil as I do this. So let's go back to the beginning again, press play and hear that. So not only is the syncopation rate changing, but we're still hearing the volume swells as well. And if I wanted to go back and look at the volume, I could just go back to mixer, and here's all the volume swell automation that we wrote in. So this also applies to any audio that you do. It's definitely not just MIDI, but this will get you started